So we are going to remove this elbow and this whole line up to this point. This is a spring clamp. You normally need a spring clamp plier for this, but I don't have one. At least mine is in a friend's garage, so we can use a plier for these. Remove this. We'll remove this clip from this hose over here, and this screw, T30 Torx screw, is holding this turbo inlet in place. And yeah, so this entire piece gets replaced by a big silicone hose. That gets replaced by a much bigger inlet. So hopefully that will free up some more airflow and add to the efficiency and improve the turbo spool up. I don't expect any big power gains from this. These are all just efficiency mods, and they'll make the car work a lot more efficiently and a lot more cleaner. Alright. A bit of peel, so okay. This have to get rid of this. Oh. done. Clamp it off. Should be able to pull it off, I think. Okay, twist it off. Pipe out. The clamp out of here. Out. Turn it out. This is the irritating. No, this is not going to work this way. I'm going to end up breaking some connectors. I'm going to disconnect a couple of connectors, move this coil back out the way, and then unplug it from here and pull the entire system out. Okay. So, 1, 2, and the other one somebody holding the line in place. Okay. Okay, so here's what's happening. This pipe over here, this one doesn't come out that easy. So instead of trying to pry it over here where there's little space, I'm going to remove this line, this coolant line, return line, which goes from here to here. It's held by one screw over here, one screw over here. Then I'm going to disconnect all 4 coil packs and move this wiring harness out of the way. That will allow me to remove this screw which holds the back part of this pipe in place. So once that happens, it will be much easier to just pull this out and do it outside this area, do it, and then put it back in the same way. So it's a little bit of round robin way of going about it, but I think it's a much more safer way of doing it than wrestling with the pipe over here. Okay, so I'll go about it. This part back done. One connector up. Yep. Perfect. So I'm only disconnecting the top one. I'm not removing the coil pack. I'm just going to remove this. I'll just crack these open. Just Just be careful with these knots, don't drop them because your coil packs won't seal otherwise. One out. Yeah. Two out. Three out. Four out. Coil pack harnesses are disconnected, so I can actually remove these grounding cables out of the way and just push the coil pack harness back. Yeah, I think I've created enough space to be able to loosen this rubber. These coil pack harnesses are pain in the ass. Yep. So I think this is as much room as I will need to get this out of here. Here. Just remember these are different kind of bolts. Now this is removed. This should just come off. I know you should be able to just wriggle this pipe out of the way. Out. Okay, I'll remove the coil. Coil pack removal is pretty easy, just pull up like that, coil pack is out. Okay, so now I got more space to work this over here. And let's see how does this clip in. And the screw, no, it should ideally just pop up. Just give it a good tug over here. Yes. Okay. So, yeah. Is it loose? Now we should be able to get a lot more maneuvering room over here. Can I move this thing out of the way? Need something holding it in place. Which is what? Okay. Yeah. Let's see if I can try to move this thing out of the way. Way over here. Okay, there's one more over here which I gotta remove. Okay. Should give me enough flexibility to remove it all. Yes, I can squeeze it out of here. Okay. So this is what the clip is. This you can't, removing this over there is a bit of a pain. So you just pull this, unscrew this, it'll just clip out, and now we can just pull this apart. The instruction says pull. Just be careful because it's all plastic and I don't want to break anything. So, yeah. Okay, so finally got these separated. I found the best way to do this is to put a screwdriver in between over here. You see there's a ridge over here. You can actually string the screwdriver between the ridge over here and lift up, and it'll just pop up like this. It's a pretty crazy one. So I don't know why it's like this, because in the older cars you had a clips which could easily go on. But either way, this is out. So now let's go back to putting in the engine. So let's put this piece back in there first, because it should be easier to put everything back together. So this thing is out underneath this. Coil pack comes out from over here and it'll just rotate into place. So now what I have to do is first put this back in place over here and clip it in. Yep, this side is clipped in. I'll put in the T30 Torx which came out of that one. Yeah. So it's this one which goes into here, into the plastic one. Remember, this is plastic, so this is a plastic one, so just be careful when you're torquing it down. Don't go crazy tight on it. Just see, it's really getting snug, and yeah, that's enough tight. Now let's put the engine back together. I'll put my coil pack in place. Put the harness cover on top of it. I find it easier going in this way. Put in the coil pack screw. Now again, remember the casing is metallic, it's aluminum, so be super easy when you're doing these. tighten these by hand and then use a wrench to tighten it into place. So yeah. Yep, right. Put the grounding bits in place. Basically, we're going in reverse what we did earlier. Hand tighten everything first and then we'll go down. Okay, now we're going to put the coil pack connectors back in. We'll pull forward and click. You'll hear the click, and that means the connector is back in place. So now we remove two screws from here, one from here, one from here. But before I plug in those screws, I'll plug in these connectors. So this is the fuel pressure connector, clicked in place. This is another sensor I pulled out, clicked in place. Diverter valve connector, clicked in place. So just double check everything. One connector I pulled out, two connector I pulled out, three. Rest all are in place. Diverter valve, everything is in place. Okay. Why change this pipe? This is the difference. That's the stock pipe over here, and this is the RacingLine pipe. Now all the pipes look the same. So the slow stock pipe, you have the ribs over here. This one, the flow is clean. I'll clean the pipe before putting it in. There's a lot of residue in it. So yeah, good to go. Okay, time to put the turbo inlet in. So you want to, these are the O-rings that come installed on the turbo inlet. So ideally you want to put some grease or some engine oil on it. I find the dipstick easier. Just pull out the dipstick and just use one end. Okay, yeah. Just rub the oil over it. I don't know if you can see, but I have some oil on the O-rings. Installation is pretty much the same as it. Just remove it. Just slide it back into place. Push it in. And you hear it lock in. Yes, locked in. And now that screw that we removed from over here goes back in. Okay. Just not fit. Not fit. Yep. Not fit. Interesting. This is odd. Okay. Okay, like this. So the RacingLine intake, rear silicone pipe and the turbo elbow has been installed. And turbo elbow, I think you can barely see it over here. That black piece that you can see, metallic piece, that is the turbo elbow. So installation notes. Couple of things that made it easier for me. The biggest problem in this entire installation is this hose clip over here. You don't have enough elbow room over here to remove this from the factory inlet. So the easier way to do it is a slightly time consuming way, but it's easier, is to basically, you see this line going all around over here. This line, you remove this screw and there should be a screw right over there. That screw over there. I'll just show you how to get to it. Yeah, that screw, this one. You remove those two screws and you get this line becomes loose. Now once that line becomes loose, disconnect the coil packs, all the coil packs, disconnect the fuel pump sensor connector, disconnect this connector, and you should be able to move this out of the way. This entire line will move out of the way. Then remove this coil pack and remove this screw over here. Once this screw is removed, this entire rear pipe piece will come out in one shot, and then you can actually pull that original turbo elbow out of this place. From this line, you can remove the line from underneath this, and then you can pull it outside the car and do it. That's the easier way to do it. So it's slightly more time consuming, but it saves you a lot of energy trying to wiggle out this hose, particularly out of this place over here. So that's one thing. The other thing is, when you're putting this line back, just make sure that this hose over here is on the outside and not on the inside. Usually it gets pinched in this hole. Don't keep it there, just pull this hose outside and it'll hang off the main line over here like this. Okay, so inlet is installed. Kind of a time consuming thing, but if you want to do it right, you gotta do it this way. The other thing that I noticed was when I installed the inlet with the air box in place, this thing was sitting at an angle like this. It was not sitting flush. So in order to get it to sit flush, I first undid the air box top screws, pulled this off, plugged this into the silicone hose, got it flush, tightened it down, and then put the box back on. That made this piece sit absolutely flush. And then everything just fit perfectly in like a glove. So now that we have got this installed, now let's see how this performs.